Chicago's skyline sparkles beyond the rooftop venue, where Lena Harper, 32, clutches a glass of Prosecco, her navy dress fading into the warm glow of Tessa's wedding rehearsal dinner. A freelance writer still scarred from her ex, Owen's, betrayal 2 years ago, Lena braces for the family judgment she knows awaits. The room hums with chatter until her cousin Tessa, radiant in cream silk, clinks her glass and beams. Meet Lena, our hopeless romantic, forever single, still chasing the one. Laughter stings, Lena's smile tightens, and her sister Nora grips her hand under the table. Her mom, Diane, offers a pitying glance, but the label, the one who never moved on, cuts deep. Lena's ready to vanish into the crowd when Tessa's fiancé, Ethan, shifts the mood. Now, our best man's toast. Julian Reid, 33, steps forward, tall in a charcoal suit, his eyes finding Lena's. Her breath catches. Julian, her high school almost love, gone 14 years after a kiss that broke her. As he says, Lena, the air crackles, and she wonders what's coming, caught between fear and a spark of hope. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories that hit home. The Chicago rooftop pulses with the soft strum of jazz, fairy lights casting a golden glow over the rehearsal dinner. But Lena Harper, 32, sits rigid at her table, the sting of her cousin Tessa's toast still fresh. Lena, our hopeless romantic, forever single. The laughter from the crowd lingers like a bruise, her navy dress feeling tighter as her sister Nora squeezes her hand, whispering, "Ignore her." Lena's mom, Diane, sips her wine, her pitying glance heavier than the Prosecco in Lena's grip. 2 years after her ex, Owen's betrayal shattered her, Lena came to this wedding braced for judgment, but Tessa's public jab cut deeper, labeling her the one who never moved on. She's ready to fade into the background when Ethan, Tessa's fiancé, clears his throat, his voice warm. Let's hear from my best man. Julian Reid, 33, steps into the light, his charcoal suit sharp, his presence commanding. Lena's heart lurches. Julian, her high school almost love, who kissed her 14 years ago on a summer night, promised to call, then vanished to college without a word. She hasn't seen him since, not even a trace, until now. His eyes find hers, and he speaks, not of Ethan, but her. Some choices haunt you, like walking away from someone who mattered. The room gasps, forks pause, and Nora leans in, wide-eyed. Is that him? Lena nods, her mind spiraling to that rooftop kiss, the mixtape Julian made her, the silence that followed when she waited, phone in hand, for a call that never came. She buried the hurt, rebuilt herself through Owen's lies, but Julian's voice, low, steady, deeper now, rips it open. He toasts to love's timing, his gaze never leaving her, and steps down, leaving the room buzzing with whispers. Lena's cheeks burn, Tessa's smirk faltering, Diane's brow furrowing. She can't breathe here, not with every eye dissecting her, not with Julian's bookmark, her high school gift, inscribed "Don't Forget Me," peeking from his pocket. A relic she never thought she'd see again. She slips to the balcony, Chicago's skyline glittering, the cool September air sharp against her skin. Gripping the railing, she wrestles with Owen's betrayal, text she found on his phone, 3 years of plans undone, and Julian's absence, a wound she thought scarred over. The city hums below, Lake Michigan's waves a distant murmur, but her heart races, the bookmarks note a taunt. Did he keep it all these years, or is this some cruel coincidence? Nora follows, her pink dress catching the light, 2 wine glasses in hand. Talk to him, Lena, she urges, handing her one. You don't owe him anything, but you owe yourself answers. Lena shakes her head, the Prosecco untouched. He left, Nora. No goodbye, nothing. What's there to say? Nora's eyes soften, but before she can push, footsteps approach. Julian stands at the balcony's edge, his suit jacket open, the bookmark glinting like a confession. Can we talk? He asks, voice low, not demanding but earnest. Lena freezes, her pulse loud. the memory of their kiss. Fireflies, his hand on her cheek, clashing with the years she spent erasing him. Tessa's toast echoes, the label single, a chain she wants to break. But trust is a fragile thing. And Julian broke it once. Chicago's wind swirls, tugging her navy scarf, and she sees the note on his bookmark again. Don't forget me, written in her teenage scrawl. Now faded, but real. 5 minutes, she says finally, voice clipped, not ready to forgive, but too curious to run. Julian nods, his expression unguarded, and steps closer, the space between them heavy with 14 years of silence. Inside, the jazz picks up, laughter spills, but out here, it's just them, the city watching, and Lena feels the weight of what's coming. Answers, maybe pain, maybe something else. Nora slips away, her wink subtle, leaving Lena to face the ghost she thought she'd buried. The bookmark's presence gnaws at her, a sign Julian carried her memory, but she's not the girl who wrote that note anymore, and he's not the boy who left. Chicago's lights pulse, reflecting her turmoil, and she braces for his words, knowing this moment could unravel the story she's told herself about love, loss, and moving on. The balcony feels smaller now, the air charged, and Lena wonders if she's ready to hear why Julian's here, why now, and what it means for the woman she's fought to become, standing alone but not broken, with a city that never sleeps as her witness. Chicago's night air brushes Lena Harper's skin as she stands on the rooftop balcony, the city's skyline glittering like a promise she's not sure she trusts. The rehearsal dinner's jazz hums faintly behind her, but her focus is on Julian Reid, 33, standing a few feet away, his charcoal suit catching the glow of string lights. Moments ago, inside, Julian's toast, not for the groom, Ethan, but for her, cracked open a 14-year-old wound. His words about haunting choices and someone who mattered, leaving the room stunned and Lena exposed. Tessa's earlier jab, Lena, our hopeless romantic, forever single, still stings, layered over the betrayal of her ex, Owen, 2 years ago. And now Julian's return, the boy who kissed her at 18 and vanished without a goodbye. His bookmark, inscribed with her teenage plea, "Don't forget me," peeks from his pocket, a relic she spotted earlier, proof he's carried her memory. Lena crosses her arms, her navy dress swaying in the breeze, and demands, "Why now, Julian? After 14 years, why here?" Her voice is sharp, cutting through the city's hum, Owen's lies and Julian's silence colliding in her chest. Julian steps closer, not crowding, his eyes steady but heavy with regret. "I was a kid, Lena," he says, voice low, no trace of charm or deflection. "That night we kissed, it was real, too real. I panicked, thought I'd ruin it, ruin you if I stayed. So I left for college, didn't call, didn't write. I told myself you'd be better off." Lena's jaw tightens, her mind flashing to the summer after high school, checking her phone, replaying their mixtape, waiting for a call that never came. She rebuilt herself, only to have Owen shatter her again with texts to another woman. 3 years of plans undone. "You don't get to decide what's better for me," she snaps, anger flaring. "I waited, Julian. I deserved a goodbye." He nods, not flinching, his hands in his pockets like he's anchoring himself. "You did. I thought about you every day. Wrote letters I never sent. Dialed your number and hung up. I was scared I didn't deserve you." His honesty disarms her. No excuses. Just truth. And it's more than Owen ever gave. Lena's fingers brush the photo in her purse, a high school snapshot of them laughing, found earlier tonight, its edges worn, a secret she'd kept even from herself. "I'm not that girl anymore," she says, softer now, her anger thawing, but trust still distant. "I know," Julian replies, his gaze unwavering. "I'm not that boy either, but seeing you tonight, I couldn't stay silent." Inside, Ethan's voice rises, calling for another toast, the crowd's laughter pulling at Lena's attention. She steps back, needing space, the photo's weight grounding her, its memory of their laughter clashing with the pain of his absence. 10 minutes, Julian says, almost a plea. Later, give me 10 minutes to explain more. Lena hesitates, Chicago's wind tugging her scarf, the bookmark's note, "Don't forget me," echoing like a challenge. She nods, not committing but curious, and slips back inside, the jazz louder now. Tessa's smirk gone, Nora's knowing glance waiting. Lena sinks into her seat, Prosecco untouched, her sister leaning in. "You okay?" Lena doesn't answer, her fingers tracing the photo through her purse, Julian's words sinking in. He thought about her, carried her bookmark, regretted his choice. It's not enough to erase the hurt, not yet, but it's a crack in the wall she's built, a glimpse of the boy who made her laugh until dawn, now a man asking for a chance to be heard. Diane, her mom, watches from across the table, her pity softened by curiosity. And Lena feels the room's eyes less now, her focus inward. Chicago's skyline looms beyond the glass, its lights steady, unlike her heart, which races with questions. Can she trust Julian's regret? Is she ready to revisit a past she thought she'd buried? The photo in her purse feels alive, a reminder of who she was. Lighter, braver. Before Owen. Before Julian's silence. Before Tessa's label pinned her as single. Lena sips her drink, the city's pulse matching her own, and knows this night isn't just about surviving the dinner. It's about deciding whether to close the door on Julian or let it creak open, just enough to hear what he's carried all these years, and what it might mean for the woman she's become, standing stronger but not unbreakable, with Chicago's endless hum as her witness. Chicago's rooftop venue pulses with the warm glow of string lights, the rehearsal dinner's jazz weaving through laughter and clinking glasses. But Lena Harper, 32, feels the air shift as she returns from the balcony, her navy dress brushing her knees. Her heart still races from Julian Reid's earlier confession, his regret for leaving her 14 years ago after a kiss that promised everything, only to vanish without a word. Tessa's cruel toast, labeling Lena the hopeless romantic, forever single, lingers like a bruise, amplified by the betrayal of her ex, Owen, 2 years prior. Julian's bookmark, inscribed "Don't Forget Me," and the high school photo she found in her purse, her and Julian laughing, his initials doodled on the back, burn in her mind, tethering her to a past she thought she'd buried. She settles at her table, Nora's supportive glance steadying her, but the room's eyes feel heavy. Tessa's smirk a silent taunt. Ethan, Tessa's fiancé, grabs the mic, his grin playful. "Against all wedding rules, my best man's got more to say." The crowd chuckles, but Lena's breath catches as Julian, 33, steps forward. His charcoal suit sharp, no notes, just resolve. He taps the mic, his voice low, deliberate. "I hurt someone once, thinking I was saving us both. Thought distance would make things easier. I was wrong. She's here tonight, and I need her to know she's worth fighting for, even if I don't deserve the chance." The room stills, gasps ripple. Tessa's jaw drops, and Nora's grin widens, her whisper lost in the hush. "He's all in." Julian doesn't name Lena, but every head turns to her, the weight of his words pinning her like a spotlight. Her cheeks flush, anger at his audacity, hope at his sincerity, fear of reopening old wounds, all crashing together. He steps down, the crowd murmuring, and walks toward her table, his eyes locked on hers, the bookmark glinting in his pocket like a vow. "I'm not running this time," he whispers, close enough for only her to hear. Lena's pulse hammers, the photos doodle, his initials, drawn by her teenage self, feeling alive in her purse, a secret she'd forgotten until tonight. She stands, her Prosecco abandoned, and slips outside, the Chicago night cool against her skin, Lake Michigan's distant waves a faint pulse. She needs air, space to untangle Julian's words from Owen's lies, from Tessa's jab, from the girl who waited 14 years ago. The city's skyline sparkles, but her mind churns. Julian owned his mistake on the balcony, admitting he panicked after their kiss, too young to handle its depth. But is regret enough? The photo, their laughter frozen in time, tugs at her. Its doodle a reminder of the hope she once held, now guarded by years of hurt. Julian follows, stopping a few feet away, his hands in his pockets. The bookmark's note, "Don't forget me," a silent bridge between them. "I meant it, Lena," he says, voice steady. Every word. She turns, her scarf catching the breeze, and studies him, not the impulsive boy who left, but a man shaped by regret, standing here despite her walls. Inside, the jazz swells, laughter spills, but out here, Chicago's hum feels intimate, urging her to decide. Shut him out, safe but stagnant, or listen, risky but alive. Nora's earlier nudge, "You owe yourself answers," echoes, and Lena feels the photo's weight, its doodle a confession she didn't know she'd kept. "You get 10 minutes, she says, voice firm but softer. Not forgiving but open, her heart teetering between caution and curiosity. Julian nods, relief flickering in his eyes, and gestures to a bench under the lights, the city watching like a silent witness. Lena sits, the photo in her purse a quiet anchor, its initials tying her to a moment when love felt simple, before Owen's texts, before Julian's silence, before Tessa's label tried to define her. The bookmark in his pocket catches the light, proof he's carried her too, and Lena wonders if 10 minutes can unravel 14 years, or if it's just the start of something neither of them can predict. Chicago's skyline looms, its light steady against the night, mirroring the spark in her chest, not yet trust, but possibility, fragile and real. She braces for his words, knowing this moment could close a chapter or write a new one, her strength not in forgetting the past, but in facing it, with a city that never sleeps, holding space for whatever comes next. Chicago's rooftop glows softly under strings of lights, the rehearsal dinner's jazz fading into a distant hum as Lena Harper, 32, sits on a weathered bench beside Julian Reid, 33, the cool September air brushing her navy dress. Her heart pounds, still reeling from Julian's second speech, an unscripted vow to fight for her, admitting he hurt her 14 years ago by leaving after a kiss that promised more. Tessa's earlier toast, branding Lena the hopeless romantic forever single, stings less now, overshadowed by Julian's words and the high school photo in her purse, its back doodled with his initials, a relic she found tonight. The bookmark in his pocket, inscribed "Don't Forget Me," gleams, proof he's carried her memory, just as she's carried his. "Explain," Lena says, voice steady but raw. The betrayal of her ex, Owen, 2 years ago, and Julian's long silence heavy in her chest. Julian leans forward, elbows on his knees, his charcoal suit creased, no charm, just truth. "I ran because I was scared," he says. "That kiss. It was everything, Lena. I was 18, heading to college, and I didn't know how to hold something that real. I thought you'd move on, be happier without me." Her jaw tightens, memories of waiting by her phone, playing their mixtape, clashing with Owen's lies that unraveled 3 years of her life. "You didn't get to decide that," she says, softer than she means, anger thawing under his honesty. He nods, eyes steady. "I know. I spent years distracting myself, jobs, cities, relationships that never lasted. Then last year, I saw your name on Ethan's phone, a family photo. It hit me. I'd been running from the best thing I ever had." Lena's breath catches, the photo in her purse heavy, its laughter a ghost of who they were. He pulls a folded paper from his jacket, an unsent letter she wrote at 18, found in his dorm years later, her words begging him to stay. "I kept this," he says, voice low. "It's why I'm here." Her eyes sting, the letter's existence a shock, proof her pain wasn't invisible. "I rebuilt myself, Julian," she says, voice breaking. "After you, after Owen's text to someone else, I learned to be enough alone. Why should I trust you now?" He doesn't flinch. "You shouldn't, not yet. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just a chance to show you who I am now." His vulnerability mirrors her own, the scars of Owen's betrayal, and her fight to heal laid bare. She admits, "I was lighter with you back then. I miss that girl sometimes." Julian's gaze softens. "I'm not that boy anymore, but I see that woman you've become, and she's incredible." They talk past midnight, Chicago's skyline a silent witness, sharing stories of their years apart, her writing career, his therapy to face his fears, their failures and small wins. The bookmark and letter bind them, not as nostalgia, but as proof they both held on. Lena's anger ebbs, not gone but quieter, replaced by a spark. Not love, not yet, but possibility. Inside, the dinner winds down, Nora's silhouette visible through the glass, her wink a silent cheer. Lena stands, the photo's doodle grounding her, its initials a reminder of hope she once drew. "I'm not promising anything," she says, scarf fluttering in the breeze. "But I'm not saying no." Julian nods, relief in his eyes, and walks her to the venue's edge, the city's hum wrapping them. "I'll wait," he says, no pressure, just truth. Lena leaves, photo and letter in her mind, Chicago's lights reflecting her shift. Not forgiveness, but an openness she hasn't felt since Owen, since Julian's silence, since Tessa's label tried to box her in. The night feels alive, Lake Michigan's waves a steady pulse, and Lena knows this isn't about erasing the past, but facing it. Her strength not in forgetting, but in choosing what comes next. She slips into her car, the mixtape she hasn't played in years tempting her, but she drives in silence. The bookmark's words, "Don't forget me," echoing alongside Julian's letter, a sign they've both carried scars and dreams. Chicago's skyline fades in her rear view, and Lena feels her heart crack open, not wide, but enough to let in a sliver of light, a chance to rediscover not just Julian, but the woman she's fought to become, standing taller with every step, ready to see where 10 minutes might lead in a city that never stops moving. Chicago's autumn chill weaves through Lena Harper's cozy apartment, where the 32-year-old writer sits at her cluttered desk, a package before her, no return address, but Julian Reid's familiar handwriting scrawled across it. Inside lies The Alchemist, their high school favorite, its inscription reading, "Follow your heart, even when it's scary." Julian, the high school photo in her purse, with Julian's initials doodled on the back, rests nearby, stirring memories of the rehearsal dinner weeks ago, when Tessa's cruel toast, Lena, forever single, cut deep, and Julian's bold speeches upended her world. His confession on the rooftop, owning his 14-year absence after their kiss, and the unsent letter she wrote, kept in his dorm, revealed a shared regret that softened her scars from her ex, Owen's betrayal 2 years prior. The bookmark Julian carried, inscribed "Don't Forget Me," still haunts her, a bridge to a past she's navigating anew. Lena meets Julian for coffee. In a cozy Wicker Park cafe, their conversation flowing. His work as an architect, her latest book reviews, no pressure, just ease. A walk along Lake Michigan follows, Chicago's waves crashing as her navy scarf flutters, their laughter lighter than she's felt in years. Julian's sincerity, so different from Owen's lies, chips away at her walls, and she notices a woven bracelet under his sleeve, her high school gift, faded but intact, a secret tie he's worn all this time. Her sister Nora catches her at home later, smirking. "You're glowing, Lena. He's good for you." Lena brushes it off, but the mirror shows a spark in her eyes, the weight of Tessa's label lifting. At Tessa's wedding, Lena brings Julian. Not to prove a point, but because it feels right. His bracelet glinting as they enter the venue, Chicago's skyline framing the night. Tessa, in her bridal glow, skips her usual jabs, her eyes flickering with surprise, and Lena's mom, Diane, leans in during dinner. "He seems solid, honey." Lena nods, her heart steady, the photo's doodle and Julian's letter in her mind, proof they've both carried pieces of each other. On the dance floor, Julian's hand finds hers, the bookmark in his pocket brushing her wrist, a quiet reminder of their shared history. They sway to a slow jazz tune, Lake Michigan's lights twinkling outside. And Lena feels not a fairy tale rush, but a grounded beginning, rooted in honesty. I kept that bracelet through everything, Julian murmurs, his voice low, because letting you go was my biggest mistake. Lena's throat tightens, the bracelet's threads a testament to his regret, mirroring her own quiet hope in keeping the photo. She thinks of Owen's texts, the 3 years she lost, and how Julian's return isn't about erasing pain, but building something new. I'm not promising forever, she says, her smile small but real. But I'm here now. Julian's eyes soften, no demand, just gratitude, and they dance, Chicago's pulse matching their steps. Nora winks from the crowd, Diane's nod warms her, and even Ethan, Tessa's groom, raises a glass their way, his grin approving. The letter Julian kept, her unsent plea from 18, feels like a chapter they've outgrown, its words no longer a wound but a stepping stone. Lena's apartment, her writing, her city, all feel brighter, not because Julian's back, but because she's choosing to let him in, on her terms. The bracelet, the bookmark, the photo, they're not chains to the past, but threads to a future she's daring to imagine. As the song ends, Julian's hand lingers, and Lena knows she's not running. Not from him, not from herself. Chicago's skyline glows beyond the venue, its lights a map of possibilities, and she feels the weight of Tessa's words dissolve, replaced by her own truth. She's not single, not stuck, but a woman rediscovering love, not as a rescue, but a partnership. The lake's waves echo her heartbeat, steady, unafraid, and Lena steps off the dance floor, Julian beside her, the bracelet's faint weave catching the light, a sign they're both here, not for who they were, but for who they're becoming. She thinks of the inscription in The Alchemist, "Follow your heart," and knows this isn't the end, but a start, built on courage, not perfection, in a city that thrives on second chances. Lena's smile grows, her scarf catching the breeze as they slip outside, Chicago's hum a quiet promise that some stories, paused for years, find their way back when the time is right, and she's ready to see where this one leads, one step at a time. Chicago's winter whispers through the frosted windows of a cozy Logan Square cafe, where Lena Harper, 32, sits across from Julian Reid, 33, their hands brushing over steaming coffee cups, the faint clink of ceramic grounding the moment. The Alchemist, Julian's gift weeks ago, rests on the table. Its inscription, "Follow your heart, even when it's scary." A quiet vow that echoes their journey since Tessa's rehearsal dinner. That night, Tessa's biting toast, branding Lena the hopeless romantic, forever single, stung deep, but Julian's bold speeches, confessing his regret for leaving her 14 years ago after a kiss, shifted everything. The high school photo with his doodled initials, the bookmark inscribed, "Don't forget me," the unsent letter she wrote, and the woven bracelet he's worn since their teens, all revealed a shared history they've carried through years apart. Lena's no longer defined by Tessa's label or the betrayal of her ex, Owen, 2 years ago, which unraveled 3 years of trust. Now, with Julian, she's building something new, not a fairy tale, but a partnership rooted in honesty. Their coffee dates, walks along Lake Michigan, and dance at Tessa's wedding, where Tessa skipped her jabs and Diane, Lena's mom, whispered approval, have woven trust, slow and steady. Nora, her sister, winks from across the cafe, spotting Lena's glow, and even Tessa texted recently, "You proved me wrong." Today, Lena's navy scarf catches the cafe's warm light, and Julian's bracelet glints, a thread tying their past to this moment. She's found an old journal at home, a teenage entry calling Julian her "what if," now answered by their tentative steps forward. "You kept that bracelet through everything," Lena says, voice soft, stirring her coffee. Julian nods, his eyes steady. "It was you, Lena. Always. I wasn't ready then, but I am now." His honesty, honed through therapy and years of regret, mirrors her own healing, forged alone after Owen's text to another woman. She's not the girl who waited for Julian's call, nor the woman broken by Owen. She's stronger, choosing this with eyes open. Chicago's hum filters through the window, its skyline a backdrop to their quiet laughter, shared stories of her writing deadlines, and his architectural sketches. The journal's words feel distant, a question resolved not by fate but by courage. Hers to trust again, his to stay. Diane's approval at the wedding, Nora's teasing, and Ethan's raised glass all fade into the background. This is theirs, built on nights of raw talks, the bookmark's promise, and the letter's weight. Lena's apartment, once a refuge of solitude, now holds traces of Julian. His coffee mug, a sketch he left, and she likes it, not as dependency, but as balance. "I'm not looking for an ending," she says, meeting his gaze. "Just a beginning, one we both show up for." Julian's smile is small, real, his hand covering hers, the bracelet's weave brushing her skin. "I'm here," he says, no rush, no grand gestures, just truth. The lessons crystallize, as sharp as Chicago's winter air. Healing isn't a straight line, but facing the past takes guts. Love thrives on vulnerability, not perfection. And your story isn't others' labels, Tessa's, Owen's, or even your own doubts, but the choices you make. Lena's journal, once a vault of what-ifs, now feels like a map. Its pages leading here, to a cafe where her heart feels steady, not racing. She thinks of the photo, the bookmark, the letter, all bridges, not burdens, linking who she was to who she's becoming. Nora waves from her table, Diane's words, "He's solid," echo, and Lena knows Julian isn't her savior, but a partner, flawed yet present. Chicago's skyline sparkles outside, Lake Michigan's waves a steady pulse, and Lena smiles, the bracelets glint a quiet promise they've outgrown their scars. This isn't about moving on, but moving forward, on her terms, in a city that celebrates second chances. If this story stirred something in you, hope, courage, a memory of your own what if, give it a like, share it with someone who's been labeled or left behind, and drop a comment. Would you have listened to Julian or walked away? Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories of messy hearts and unexpected turns, because sometimes the past knocks not to haunt you, but to remind you how far you've come and how much further you can go. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.